we have Patrick Santisano of Atlantic Braids to discuss synthetic rope, slings, and shackles, and to highlight the benefits of Dyneema HMPE versus steel. Again, please post your questions using the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom window, and Patrick will answer your questions towards the end of his presentation. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Patrick and Atlantic Braids.
Thank you very much. Can you guys see my screen? I'm hoping. So my name is Patrick, and I will be talking with you from Atlantic Braids, and what we do is manufacture rope, all synthetic fibers, including terminations, etc. So I will talk a bit about who we are, because many of you probably don't know much about our company. Some of the fibers and yarns that we use today, the different types of rope constructions we do, and also some of the terminations and finishings that could benefit any industry. So we've been around since 1976. We are a Canadian headquartered organization. We just put a brand new facility, about a 50,000 foot facility, a couple of years ago. As I mentioned, we only manufacture synthetic rope, and we service multiple industries. We do a lot of private labels, including our own brand. We use some of the world's best equipment. We do probably any different type of termination you could ask for, and we are ISO certified. On a map, people associate Canadian companies as being beyond north or in igloos. We're actually about 45 minutes from the New York state line, 4 or 5 hour drive to New York City or Boston, Vermont, etc. So we're pretty well situated where we're located. We're very fortunate. We've touched many different industries and play different sandboxes. Our strengths lie heavily in the arboriculturist and forestry industries. We're strong in agriculture, energy, mining, and all the different marine applications, the construction, industrial side of the business. We've grown exponentially in all these categories. I'm very fortunate to support all of our partners in those areas.
Patrick,
yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. If you have a screen share, a presentation, you need to screen share it.
Oh, sorry about that. Thank you. Is that better?
Perfect.
All right, so I apologize for that. Some of the different services we offer our customers are custom-made ropes to any length, color, coating, accessorize however they'd like it, any length as well, diameter. Many ask for different protections and wear pads put on them. We do any type of splicing required eyes with any thimble or hardware that's either sent to us or we procure for our customers. Many people ask for things already pre-stretched. We have break testing options as well in different packaging as well. So these are all the different terminations, but pretty much we'll do anything our customers ask for. Just a quick snapshot of some of our top partners. We became a multi-award winning supplier for Alltech. We provide Cheryl Trees, a Notch brand, and many other products in different industries and customers as well. Our commitment to quality is probably the most important thing to us because many of our customers or rope users risk their lives every day. These are guys and women who are climbing trees or hydro poles, hundreds of feet in the air, so we take quality very seriously. We have our own testing facility, test bed right now that could do up to 250,000 pounds. We're actually getting another one shortly that will do over 1,300,000 pounds. We are ISO certified, as I mentioned, and we're an active member of the Cordage Institute. As I mentioned, of the synthetic fibers we use, we only source our fibers. There's millions of sources out there around the world, but we're very particular with who we work for, either from Europe, Asia, or the United States. A glimpse of the fibers we use today are HMPE, Dyneema's brand as well, and we'll talk a bit about Dyneema shortly. Polyester, nylon, polysteel, and also what's very common as well is the aramid fibers like Kevlar, Technora, and Dectran, which have really high heat tolerance. I'll talk a bit about Dyneema, as pretty much has become the brand name of HMPE, and they're manufactured by a great company out in the Netherlands called DSM, And DSM is a massive company that manufacture and provide in different areas of the industries of health, nutrition, and fine materials. Dyneema is pretty much a branded version of HMP, or ultra high molecular weight polyethylene fiber. That's why they say HMPE. And the greatest thing about Dyneema is it pretty much is the anything and everything fiber, and is known as the replacement to steel. It is considered a steel replacement fiber. It's the strongest fiber on earth. It's a seventh of the weight of steel. It's incredibly strong, phenomenal abrasion resistance. It's got high durability, low creep, high modulus, and to top it off, it floats on water. So as you can tell, this is a very special fiber, and it's probably Earth's greatest fiber that exists today. DSM, or Dyneema, is found in almost any industry without even knowing about it. It's paramount in the military, all cut resistant gloves. It's in every aviation or offshore, even space applications today. If anything is required synthetic that's got to be beyond strong or resistant, you'll find Dyneema or HMP associated with that. You'll probably notice their trademark diamond on all the products. We'll talk a little bit about the creep. Creep is really important in a lot of applications. And what creep pretty much is the amount of stretch you get with the product on load. So for example, it's got the lowest creep factor of any fiber on earth. So right now, about 1% of creep or stretch you get on a 30% of the load. So it is absolutely incredible what this rope or fiber can do. It is also has the highest tested UV resistant. And as you know, most ropes or applications are outdoors in some crazy temperatures and sun. So you have this extra support protection of this fiber, would not dissolve on you, disintegrate on you. And the abrasion resistance, as I mentioned, being the strongest fiber on earth, it is very, very resistant to any type of abrasion you could throw at it. Now, mind you, any misuse or misapplication, of course, like a fiber, it can break or cut, but it takes very, very difficult force or user error to cause this to happen. There are different variations of Dyneema. There's different grades of it. There's SK75 as an older grade. SK70 is probably the more commonly used one today. It's got a really great creep factor. It's a bit stronger than 75. And anything that's required, for the military or the highest grade of fiber, you're looking at SK99 or DM20, which has ultimately the lowest creep factor possible. HMP, there are hundreds and hundreds of HMP manufacturers around the world and suppliers around the world. It's always important to be cautious of who you're working with, because there's so many imports that come in. Some of the more premium brands out there are, of course, Dyneema, as I mentioned, which is from DSM, but Spectra from Honeywell, Plasma from Cortland. These are good brands as well, so you can't go wrong. So if you're working with HMP, you're looking at the HMP, look at the source where it comes from. Be sure, because anybody can put a label on it, but companies like these have the science and data behind it to really back it up. So I'll show you a really quick clip. I won't go through the whole thing because of time constraints, but just to show you a little break test that was done between steel and a Dyneema rope. It was a 3/8 of an inch rope, and I'll just tee it up a little bit here. What we did was we break tested we'll show you first a 3/8 steel rope at a break test right now at our facility. And you'll see how, and pay close attention, we'll show it to you in slow motion as well. But watch the recoil factor over here. And you'll notice that the steel wire performed quite well, actually, obviously, as we know, steel is very strong and had broken about 14,478 pounds. But what is really important to notice is the recoil. The safety element. Now, this is only a 3/8 inch wire, but imagine this being significantly bigger, significantly stronger, and the users around it, the operators around it, it's quite dangerous. So this is just now the same diameter, but with a Dyneema fiber rope. And you'll notice this will break about just over 19,000 pounds. And what's interesting to know here is that the recoil factor, it just snaps and there's virtually no recoil, no danger, and causing it to be ultimately safe. So when you're working, like I mentioned, in different applications, you really want to have that safety element. If you're looking for something light as well, you can't go wrong with a Dyneema or an HMP fiber for that matter. The safety element alone is huge, as you can see here. I'll just cut this off right now. So as I mentioned, Dyneema or HMP is about 15 times stronger pound for pound than steel. It's got significantly less recoil. Diameter for diameter, it's 1/7 of the weight of steel as well. It's got terrific abrasion resistance, and believe it or not, it's buoyant, it floats. So you drop a steel shackle in the ocean, for example, that thing is gone. You drop a Dyneema shackle or a sling or whatnot, that thing will float back up to you. So there's that element of as well that protects you. Here's some of the different types of ropes that we manufacture for that you'll see in different industries. These are AWRF products, which we're very strong in, as I mentioned earlier, with manufacturer companies like Cheryl Trees Notch. We've done a lot of work in utility and energy markets, and you'll see a lot of our products there as well. Industrial rigging construction is a fast-growing area for us today. It's amazing to see the shift of mindset. People are now navigating away from steel more and more for that safety element, or easier for operators to use. You can carry on products with ease, not have to worry about having multiple people or trucks moving certain products. Mining and marine applications. A lot of the ropes we make are very transferable, which is great. And the different types of constructions go from one industry to the other. As I mentioned, we do a lot of finishing here. And these are just some examples of some of the finishings we do. We provide, either some thimbles, tube thimbles, bagging, sleeves, etc. Other areas are very popular, especially in the industrial and construction areas and stuff like that, is our loopies, our whoopies, recovery ropes. We're seeing more transformer slings, 2-prong, 3-prong, 4-prong transformer slings. We make a ton of those right now. It's becoming really popular. People are looking at a synthetic option to what exists today. And this has probably been one of our fastest growing segments of termination is our shackles. Believe it or not, these soft shackles in many industries are taking over these steel shackles. And not just because they're very easy to use, but it's that safety element as well. If you snap a steel cable and a metal shackle comes ricocheting back at you and hits you in the head, depending on the size of that shackle, there's a good chance you're either eating out of a straw or you're not going to be alive. So one of these shackles, if they were to snap back and hit you, you might have a little bump on your head or a slight concussion, but you'll live to tell the story about it. And the strength of these shackles are unparalleled. So just to give you guys crazy numbers, this gentleman here is holding an 1 3/4 shackle, and that break strength is just probably about 800,000 pounds. We make a 2-inch shackle, for example, that could break over 1 million pound break strength and only weighs about 20 to 25 pounds. So if you got to carry a metal shackle to get you 1 million pound break strength, that's significantly heavy and could require more than one person if you had to. So synthetic shackles have been growing in popularity, and we're very fortunate. Like I said, they're applicable to our arborist industries, all the way to the marine, mining, industrial, you name it. Anywhere a shackle is required, we use, it can be used. And just in closing, some of the value proposition, again, many people don't know who we are, but we're often in the shadows of some of the bigger companies out there. But we've been around a long time. We manufacture in North America. We are ISO certified and very committed to quality. We only use the top quality yarn. So if you're looking for a lower grade priced option, we may not be the one for you. We're very particular about the fibers we put in there because, again, safety of our customers and user is the most important thing for us. We develop and test our own rope, And what stands out the most of all this right now is our lead times. Compared to the most of any industry right now, we are probably the fastest lead time that is provided today. And we've become pretty much a one-stop shop for our customers. So thank you very much for your time. Thanks for listening to me. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and use my contact information as well.
Thank you, Patrick. There have been a few questions rolling in. The first one that came up during your video asked about creep, and it asked if creep, isn't it an irreversible deformation over time rather than an elongation per load?
It's exactly. Sorry, I didn't really properly explain it. It's exactly that. It pretty much will how the tension stays in place, and it will not give you more stretch. So yes, that's the correct version of it.
Okay. Next question is, what design factor do you use in your shackle ratings?
It depends on the shackle construction we use. Some of them are 1.5 to 1. Some of them are 2 to 2.5 to 1. It depends on the construction. We have a different variations of shackles we make. Depends on the industry.
Patrick, the next question, does the Cordage Institute or anyone that you know, including AWRF, are any of these groups doing any testing on soft shackles? And will ASME be rating these for most likely overhead lifting?
That's an excellent question. I get that question a lot. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, the Cordage Institute has guidelines, has everything out there, but they don't really provide much as far as the testing goes and what needs to be done. That's all not only manufacturer, but it's also user, discretion. Some of our competitors will suggest soft shackles to be used for overhead lifting. Some of our customers are probably using overhead lifting. However, we will not say that they are recommended or approved because there's no real evidence or no real paperwork that allows us to support it. So everything we make is based on the working load limit, everything that's required by the customer or by the user. And it's up to them afterwards to decide if they want to take those chances or use it for those applications. Because again, it's not that the shackle will break, it's how it's put together, it's how it's used is the worry. And if it's just it's not put on properly, you can cause a situation.
Next question, what is the inspection or failure criteria of the shackles?
Another very good question. It's similar to how you inspect or look at your rope. And it's more of a visual thing than anything else. You'll tell by just the way you can see how the rope is used. But the good thing about a shackle, most shackles we make, our customers ask for a wear pad or protection around it. We use a ballistic nylon or a very high-end Chafe Pro wear pad, and that just adds more to the protection and for the abrasion as well. So the good thing about these shackles, they can last many, many, many years without ever worry. If it's taken care of and used properly, visually you'll see it, and you can always contact us for some inspection support.
Next question, how does the shackle attach to other rigging, and is it possible?
I'm not sure if I fully understand the question, but the shackle is almost like a bow or a knot. You just loosen it, the knot comes out, and it can apply or attach to any type of spliced item or eye or even a fixed attachment. It maneuvers really easy. It opens up flat, so whatever it'll squeeze into, it's not a problem. Just hopefully there's enough space in the application.
Now, you spent a lot of time talking about counterfeit HMPE. Does Atlantic Braids have a way to identify their ropes in the field with a marker tape or some other way?
We identify, normally we add on our ropes a tag that's usually tagged. A lot of our ropes in general have some tracers on them, but with the Dyneema or HMP that we manufacture with, that's quite tricky because a lot of what we sell is in loads. We make 10, 15, 20,000 foot loads. And often it's the customer that's tagging it, or they're the ones reselling it. So that they're the ones who are putting the tag on it as well. But for us, it's very difficult, and there's so much counterfeit out there. It's not counterfeit, just not the right quality out there. And it's important that people be conscious of it. If it's really, really inexpensive, I would really think twice about the application. If it's not a high risk application, you're probably okay. Any higher risk application, I would vet it out a bit more.
Okay, well, thank you, Patrick. Great presentation and good answers. We'll be back in about 5 minutes with Advantage Sales.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.